Hello everyone, my name is Francesca Duval and I'm from Alchemist Farm in Northern California. We are a humane quail and chicken hatchery, and today I'm here to talk to you about quail. The feed that you give them depends on what you want your end game to be with the quail. So a lot of people will say, what breed do I need to raise for meat versus eggs? And the answer is, well, what you're feeding them. So these jumbo Coturnix, I give them a 20% protein from the moment that they're hatched until 3 weeks of life, and then I drop it down to between 14 and 16%. And I do that so my quail don't get really large. If you want large quail and you're raising them for meat, you want to keep them at 20% plus protein feed until the time when they start laying eggs, which is between 6 and 8 weeks, which is so fast in the poultry world for a turnaround of something to hatch and then start laying eggs. It's another reason why I love quail, because they're so prolific and so rewarding. They're so quick in how they start to produce and give back to your family. That's a side note though. So if you're wanting to raise them for eggs, give them that higher protein just for the first 3 weeks of their life, and then the rest of their life, a lower protein. So it makes smaller birds, slightly smaller eggs, but lots of them. I like the jumbo Coturnix with the slightly smaller eggs because they actually fit into cartons. Some of the jumbo Coturnix eggs, if you give them that 20% protein all until the rest of their lives, they make some giant eggs, which is cool, but it's hard to package them to be able to use them in a practical sense. So if you can come up with some clever packaging and you want large eggs, but less of them, that's the way to achieve that. That higher protein amount also allows the quail to get larger bodies. So if you're separating your males and females, then you'd be harvesting your males between that 6 and 8 week mark, and they would be noticeably plumper and larger to be able to close that loop and make some meat for your family. A lot of people have mixed feelings about harvesting their own meat and closing that loop, and I understand that. I hear that. When we first started harvesting our male quail, we knew that we wanted to do that and raise them up because we didn't like the way larger scale factories were treating the males that were born. A lot of times they will discard of them as soon as they're born, and we wanted to be able to respect the life that we were bringing into the world. So we raised them up and knew that we were going to be eating them. And then when it came time to process them, we thought we'd hide the journey from our children. But my oldest, my 5-year-old, said, well, I want to know what you're doing. I want to see. And so my husband sat down and really went through the whole process with her and showed her, and didn't make it a dramatic affair. It was really sweet and respectful. And at the end of it, she understood where her meat came from and actually was able to connect with it in a way that felt real. Like she didn't want to waste any of what we had created and wanted to be more aware of her consumption of it. And I feel like that's a great lesson for a child, adult, any of us to learn about what it actually takes to make meat, and to be able to bring it to a place where you can harvest it on your own and then put it in the freezer back for your family. Again, one more aspect of having a homestead, you know, what do you do with all of the excess that's created there? We don't want to throw it away or put it in the landfill. Let's use it. Quail meat is a lot more tender than adult rooster meat. Adult rooster meat of chickens would be better for tamales or slow stewing or things like that, but quail meat's actually tender. About 2 quail are a serving size for an adult, 1 for a child if you're going to be hatching at a larger scale and then having, you know, a big group of maybe 30 or 40 extra males. You know, you got to know what to do with them and plan ahead. I'm always thinking 3 and 4 steps ahead whenever I bring in quail or chickens into our space of how are we going to take care of them. Do we have the infrastructure first? What's our game plan? Do we have the ability and the space to be able to harvest them properly? Do we have the freezer space? Do we have the extra hands? All of that, I think, sets you up for success in the long run with any kind of journey on farming, quail especially. So that's just a very basic general overview of brooding quail and then what kinds of things they need as adults. And then I'm happy to connect with you all if you have any extra questions over a Q&A, or you could send extra questions to Kellogg and I'll get back to you. Hope you have a good day.